Hello there everyone, and welcome to another playthrough of Mechabellum. So I'm the speed specialist here. So I'm going to be showing how to do a effective fang carry. So as you can see here, I bought the additional fangs just to even out the chaff. He has steel balls and arclights. Now the arclights are going to tear through the chaff. But as soon as I put range on the chaff unit, you're going to see a big change in the usefulness of the arclight. It almost makes them obsolete, essentially, when you give range to fangs. As long as most of the units stay relatively intact and don't take too much damage from the distance, don't take out the arclights. Now, he went and got an overlord, overextended himself, took out the loan to do that. So steel balls are really effective against single big powerful units or even single small units. Problem is when they run into chaff is where they slow down and they become really vulnerable. Now the overlord will clean house. It will take out the tarantulas, the towers, because there's no anti-air there. The fangs would be effective anti-air. But obviously the arclights and the steel balls mixing together eventually just absolutely whittle them down to nothing. But this is the first round, so it's just to figure out what direction your opponent's going in. I mean, the first 3 rounds, I always say, feel out your opponent, see what kind of build they're trying to put together, and then that's where you really start to try and punish them as much as possible. Now, the one thing I will say is to make sure you just build a board you're happy with. So no matter what he's doing or she's doing on the other end, just make sure you're consistently building a board that can stand on its own 2 feet. So, for instance, can deal with anti-air, can deal with long range attacks, can deal with like beam absorption unit like steel balls or melting points. Try and cover as many bases as you can. Now here I've added range to my fangs, and I think here you're going to see a completely different side to the game. So let's see how I do with the range, how much that changes things. Now you can see I'm hitting the steel balls from quite a distance. The marksmen are going to do a lot of damage as well. Now look how far they start firing. I mean, they're actually hitting the overlord from this distance. The overlord's gone. And I've actually retained some of my chaff. And range is really important in this game. You'll figure that out along the way. Like, range can be your best friend. It buys you time, makes your chaff a little bit more dangerous. So I only improved melting point simply because I wanted to go down that road eventually. I wanted to put melting points in. He went for the orbital barrage, which is fine, you know. It's not that big a deal to drop it, and I mean, I was expecting to lose the first 3 rounds. I actually won a round taking out the overlord, which was a surprise, if I'm being honest. He's probably going to roll more into overlords, I think. So a lot of players get bogged down. They become afraid to change tactics. Like, they feel like once they've put down 3 or 4 units, that if they keep pushing and upgrading those units, that they'll pay off. Sometimes you just need to abandon it and just make the best of a bad situation. He left himself really vulnerable on the right flank as well. I mean, he seems to be invested more to like a 1 flank push which sometimes can be really useful, but a lot of the other times it can really hinder your progress. The idea is to be as lethal on one side as the other, unless you spot a blatant weakness that you know that it's going to be hard to course correct within a round or two, that you can keep exploiting, then fine, invest on a particular flank and take advantage. So again, the fact that the chaff is able to really whittle down that much and do that much damage is impressive, and in early rounds too. These units will be upgraded. So I went for the additional deployment slot because, you know, numbers, they do count. So did he. So I upgraded them to do more bullet penetration damage, simply because, you know, I can see flaws in the overlords and the acolytes, and instead of them doing the amount of damage they're doing, if I double that, I can take out that overlord a lot simpler, and I can actually move on my chap to assist the right flank. Now he's put down the overlord, and as you can see here, I've also put anti-air on the tarantulas, as well as covering the flanks in case he tries to outmaneuver me and try and sneak behind. So that you can see the chaff is just melting, absolutely melting the overlords, the marksmen, the acolytes, and he hasn't really tried anything to counter it. I mean, at this point, you'd be looking at like a Vulcan, and you'd be looking at least a few more acolytes, and maybe add range to the acolytes to try and deal with the chaff problem. Because all I've got, literally all I have 5 here is level 1 marksman and level, well, I upgraded one of the tarantulas, but at this point I've only got 2 tarantulas. I have no giant units. I'm just adding chaff. So of course, double down on the chaff. Also got smoke screen. I mean, even Stormbreakers would be useful. Stormbreakers would be incredibly useful. Okay. Smoke screen down, so that's range down on the acolytes and the marksmen. And you'll notice that this line is going to get eradicated so quick. It just gets absolutely melted. So basically that's a board wipe straight away. And all my chaff, essentially almost all of my chaff, is still absolutely fine. And this is the other thing, your chaff can be just as deadly as like major units, like as you can see, Farseers, Rhinos, Sabertooth, you know. Chaff is really underrated if you do 2 things, range and bullet penetration. The thing with, obviously, a lot of people would favour crawlers because of the speed. You can get to their opponents faster, but at the same time, I just have a real soft spot time carrying because it's just so cool. And if you're a defensive player, for instance, if you like to sit back and just allow your opponent to get a little bit aggro, do the aggro push and just really rush you, then the Fang is just, if you do it properly, it's ridiculously OP. Now here you can see I've added melted point. I did also get a Farseer, but I added melting points with energy diffraction, simply because I wanted to just be really awkward. I don't think you would have been expecting me to put melting points down. Now he's obviously got Farseers as well. He's doubled down on Farseers though. He's put a lot of Farseers down. And Farseers are vulnerable to chaff as well. I mean, just because people think just because they do damage like Stormbreakers, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are, look, they're gone already. They're instantly gone. Because they almost have the same range with upgraded Fangs. The thing with Stormbreakers is that they have a huge amount of range. There's time. You see the policy, and my policy is just absolutely melting. The chaff as well is just still there. And so I think my opponent was just trying to figure out a way to counter, and he just got stuck into not completely changing tactics. He just went on and on and on with this tactic, and it just, unfortunately, it didn't do him any favours. So yeah, he just goes all in on Overlords. I don't mind, the Overlords are incredibly vulnerable to well-placed, well-upgraded chaff. As I said, he would have been far better just going like halfway through this, keeping the 2 Overlords he had, either keeping the Farseers and just going Vulcan and just trying to melt whatever units he could from the chaff, because the chaff is doing almost all of the damage now. I know I've got the melting points there, but the chaff is just ridiculously overpowered. So left flank has crumbled, right flank is just holding on, and with the tower going down, it's just, yeah, it's not good. Not good for my opponent at all. And that is game, set, and match. And that, my friends, is how to do a good Fang carry. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed your time watching it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.